Much excite indeed. Hello, everyone. How's it going? Yeah, I'm excited today. We got a lot going on in Lotro. We have some big news that we'll have real soon, and I'll hint a little bit about that here this week. Otherwise, we're going to be running quests. We're going to be going through Song of Waves and Wind. We'll be probably kicking off our trek through the new Tales of the Kindred that is now in week 4 as of Wednesday. We got our next NPC that'll be debuting next Wednesday as part of that chain. But mostly we just had a big beta this week related to Update 41, which is next. And I'll have the latest on that as well as your questions and do my best to get you some answers here on this happy warm Friday. I don't have much in the way of expansion news for this week, but we will have some more information about that pretty soon. That is later this year that the expansion is going to be going live. Next is Update 41, and we've already hinted some about the legendary worlds. I know Sev last time he was chatting, was it with Bloodborne or elsewhere now, where he dropped a hint about some legendary worlds that we have in the works, and we'll be talking about that in the very near future as well. Main bit of news though, if you want to tune out after I'm done talking, at least pay attention to this, and that is next Friday. I'm going to have executive producer Severlin on. He'll be joining us for general Q&A, and I have a feeling he's going to be dropping a little bit of news that you probably want to hear. So, we'll have more information next Friday when Sev is able to join me on the show. But otherwise, this week, just little old me. I could say in my real life, if I'm a little more hyper than normal, it's because I got a new-to-me car arrived today. I've been vehicleless for the last 2 weeks since my last engine died. The engine of my old 2006 Mitsubishi Eclipse died about 2 weeks ago while I was heading to a fellow SSG employee's house to do some tabletop gaming. And so I've been carless for the last 2 weeks. And I've been car shopping for the last 2 weeks. And I am happy to say that is now over. New to me wheels. It's a 2022. In case you're curious, it's a Kia K5 GT line with the one in wolf gray. That they don't just call it gray; it's got to be wolf gray, and it's got all the bells and whistles. So yeah, the shiny one, and it's pretty hot, and it just arrived about a half hour ago. So I am one excited dude here today. But that's not of any relevance to Lord of the Rings Online, although it would probably have shortened that trip to Mordor, would it have not, if they had had a nice, reliable vehicle with navigation. Very different alternate universe in that one. So, alright, let's get to some news here. Let me switch channels and actually talk a little bit more about what we do have going on. Okay, so the main bit of news here for this week is that we had a pretty big beta this week that is going on for just another couple hours before it shuts down for the week. But all week we were actually able to open Bull Roar for our first preview of Update 41 on Monday, later in the afternoon on Monday, but we were able to get it up a little earlier than we have historically, and hopefully we can do more of that in the future. That's our intention, but it all depends on kind of when things fall into place and when they can be opened. So I will still sometimes do Tuesdays and sometimes even Wednesdays. But this week, we were able to get it in on Monday. And you can find all these notes over on the Lotro forums, in the Bull Roar section of the forums. A first look at Update 41 includes a new Thorin's Hall crafting event that Orion talked about a couple of weeks ago. Monster Play new quests, and some other related Monster Play news. And I think that for that preview, that is mostly just what we have for this. But you can find the forum threads on it. You can read the release notes. And we are working on our second beta for next week. Timing TBD. Don't know what day it's going to go live, but it will be going live next week with an updated version of Update 41. Let me take a moment to do a little bit of sales here, and that is because I did want to call out that we have our summer sales now in week 2. This is going to be running through July 11th, and this week we have carry-alls. This is our big carry-all sale for the summer. So 25% off crafting carry-alls, 50% off tracery and essence carry-alls, 75% off junk item and war spoils carry-alls, and that is through June 20th. Also, we do have our Make Your Piece of Middle-earth Shine sale happening, and a coupon code that you can get on the forums as well. But I did want to call it the carry-all thing, because it is a special sale, an unusual sale that we're doing. We're doing special deals each week for, I guess it'll be, what, 3 more weeks here? 4 more weeks here? Through July 11th. And that's how it goes. Then finally, I did want to call out that we do have a little bit of time left to run both the Midsummer Festival and the Yuletide Festival. They're both back this year together. We added the Yuletide Festival and the Yuletide Hobbit gifts to the Midsummer Festival just for this year. We'll see how it goes in future years, but that is running through June 25th, and you can take a look at the new rewards. We've got some screenshots up of it. And learn a little bit more about what's going on here for this year's Midsummer Festival / also celebrating the winter. Mostly due to the fact we had requests to bring the Yuletide Festival back. This seemed like a good weekend or a good time period for it, and folks in the Southern Hemisphere are in some cases celebrating winter, although I understand snow is somewhat less common, perhaps, depending where you are. But we talked about that last week, didn't we? So, alright, so I think I've pretty much got the info for this week. We had our big update. We have Severlin joining us next week. We're working full steam ahead on Update 41. We'll have some news about Legendary Worlds real soon here. And then we are also working on our expansion, which will have more information about. It'll be a little bit yet, I think. We do have Update 41 next. But you'll be seeing some more stuff about the expansion here in the near future. While I head in game, let me go and take a look at chat, see what we have going on. Bring back up my game audio. So when we left off, we were at 9.8 Last Dance for the Song of Waves and Wind. And here to speak to Harmalak. And then, like I said, we're going to start running the Tales of the Kindred quests here for the show. I don't know. That's a good question, Mandalare. I'm not sure what the flower that's in the new circlet is actually supposed to be. It's some kind of viney thing. So, I actually have plants outside of my own house, and I'm like, yeah, the one, you know, that looks like the thing with the thing on it. Can't say that I am a botanist, so I don't know what flower it's actually supposed to be. But some kind of a hanging vine is my understanding. Yeah, I've seen your question, Karami Live, about transferring items from one server to another using shared storage. I am not in a good position to really give you a sudden tutorial on that one, but I bet you the Lotra Wiki probably be your best bet. You could also ask about the forums, on the forums, and I bet someone can talk you through it, but I myself, right off the top of my head, can't think exactly of how that process would work. But yeah, it's the shared storage, transferring your shared storage is just part of the world transfer process. So if you're transferring a character, you can transfer shared storage along with it. But I think, you know, before I would say that for sure, though, I would want to know more about what it is you're trying to transfer, how that would all work. But I think it should work. Ah, I think you might be right. Wisteria, that sounds like a hanging plant whose name I've heard of. So if Glisten Mist, if you're thinking it's Wisteria, I will take your word for it. That sounds right. All right, let's pick up here with chapter 9.8, Last Dance. We're speaking to Harmalak, the Golden Queen, kinswoman of the Upper Ward. We've returned safely from Umbar Mach, and have we discovered the reason for Tathata's disappearance? We tell Harmalak what transpired in the hidden chambers within Kamrabazur, but when I start talking about the ferocity of the Great Bear, she raises a hand. Not here, Stampion. Few alone know Tathata's secret, and the meeting hall is not the place for it. We have a more pressing concern to talk about. We have opened the coffer containing the names of those suggested to join the leadership of the Kindred, and one name has appeared more than any other.
One name was suggested more than any other to replace the missing members of the Kindred. And that name was your own.
I mean, gosh. Do I think it's a good idea to become a Kindred of the Coin? Or not me, but Stampion? Do I think Stampion should be a Kindred of the Coin? I'm gonna say... Harmalak appraises me carefully. The folk of Umbar Baharbil have noticed your efforts on their behalf. That is not enough, but it's more than nothing. I don't know if you're the right person to join us, Stampion. Know that there would be tests and trials to ensure you're worthy of such an honor, as there were for the rest of us. I promise you nothing. The city will face many challenges in the weeks ahead. Speak to the other leaders of the Kindred of the Coin here in Dar Laha, and they may well ask for your assistance. Prove you act for Umbar, and you may receive their blessing. So we're speaking with Belendor, Koltek, and Rothog. Let us start here with Belendor. Immaculado, if you want to, I'm not quite sure what you mean by the free-to-play world. You'll have to explain that one a little bit to me. All of our worlds, minus the legendary ones, right, should be free to VIP, or free to anyone. Someone else is saying their son and them are interested in getting into Lotro. Is there any preference to going through Steam versus directly with Lotro? That's really a personal choice, and one that I can't offer particular guidance on. There may be reasons you would like to see it in your Steam launcher. There may be reasons why you would prefer to have it not associated with that third-party program. But I would take a look at the forums. They'll be able to offer you some suggestions about what the advantages and disadvantages of each are, and I would just go from there. In general, the question is what happens if I try to transfer stuff and it's full? It'll go into a remove only state until you get below the limit of the thing that is overflowing. There may be some asterisks and exceptions there, but I think that that's basically the case.
Yes?
I was surprised to hear your name read aloud so often when they opened the coffer, Stampion. The people of the city have taken notice of your effort on their behalf. Take pride in it, but know the responsibility can be heavy. Sighs wearily. We'll have many demands upon our time in the weeks ahead. How will we decide what can be done and what must be done? I hope you will help me sort our way through these issues. Let us speak to Koltek.
You grow more impressive by the day.
Why, thank you.
Must I keep an eye upon you from now on?
Koltek chuckles to himself, apparently amused by a secret joke. Such power must be wielded with care, my friend, or you risk losing it. Many others have learned this lesson too late. I encourage you to learn it early.
Your name grows in worth.
If the people of the city continue to speak of you with such praise, I may have to order you to the arena. Rothog smiles. It's an unpleasant sight. Invite. I may have to invite you to the arena. Alright. So then, let us find J-Jax here.
I am amused, honored, and a little upset with you.
There you go. And chat is helping this person in chat sort through some of their storage transfer questions. So, I am amused, honored, and a little upset with you, Stampion. You should have told me you planned to plant your name many times in the suggestion coffer. I don't know how you got that done, but I'm impressed you were able to do it. Still, it was my idea, and I should be the one who joins the Kindred of the Coins, not you. Imagine the power I might wield as part of that august body. I'm better suited for the post than you are, and we both know it. Maybe. Well, we will see if they allow you to join at all. I suspect they won't, for as much as the people of the city like you, I've seen the way each member of the Kindred looks at you, and there's distrust behind every pair of eyes. Mark my words, Stampion, they may speak friendly, but in their hearts they can't see you truly as a friend. There's too much bloodshed between Umbar and Gondor for that, no matter what Sirgun or the others may believe. J-Jax has seen and spoken the truth. Doubt him at your peril.
You have done well for us today. Of that, there can be no doubt.
Well, let's see how you fare in the weeks ahead before we think over much of the future. But Tathata, it seems, may have reason to wish you ill, and your continued work alongside the Kindred means she may wish to do us harm as well. Nope. Go down to the guard outside of Darlaha and tell him she's not to be allowed to pass. Parmalat carefully adjusts her bracelets. Few know of Tathata's true strength, for she has kept it hidden from all but her dearest friends. Let us keep that knowledge to ourselves for now, unless she gives us reason not to. Yes, I count myself among Tathata's friends. Does that surprise you? But warn Jaeth, outside of the meeting hall, that Tathata is not to be underestimated. The events of the past few days may have given her reason to suspect even her friends of betrayal. If she tries to attack the meeting hall, it'll be his duty to stand before her. Alright, so let us do that. There we go. Oh, also, congratulations, Eldolith, on your Lotro stream anniversary, as I understand it. You've got a stream either that just happened or is happening. Is that correct? If you happen to be here, Elda. Today is your 9 years of streaming actively. That's awesome. And you're doing some kind of live stream for it, are you not, if I recall? Feel free to drop a link and some promo in chat if you'd like. So, to Emma Coolato's question, wants to know basically what's there free to do at Endgame right now. It is true that most of our Endgame is uh, associated with the current quest pack and also the expansion that was released most recently. Perhaps you'll find the game enjoyable enough that you're able to support it financially and pick up maybe the low tier of the pack or something if you're budget conscious, and or the quest pack if you just want to do that. There is also quite a bit that you can do for free in the game. Should be plenty if you're not yet ready to, or able to, or whatever, able to support us with a purchase. I should prevent kinswoman
I should
Tathata.
prevent Kingswoman
Okay.
Tathata from entering the Lodge.
Has she thrown in with the traitors then? I can't believe it. I'll do what I can if she makes a threatening appearance, but I need to warn you she's always had the fiercest countenance and possesses great strength. If she wants to get in, there may be little we guardsmen can do to prevent it. Do our best. As we bid farewell to Jaeth, we fear he's right. If Tathata demands entrance, there are few in Umbar Barhabel who would stand against her. The story continues in a future update. Alright. So let's head in and start with the Kindred of the Coin. Let me, I forgot to call up this document. I want to do this in order, so let me real quick look to see, remind myself which was the first NPC to speak to. Oh, good point. This is Father's Day weekend for all the dads out there, and happy Father's Day, everyone. Let's hear my best dad jokes. I already gave my best dad joke last week. That was that Grateful Dead joke. I don't know if I've got any good dad jokes. Actually, Jeffrey, do you remember the joke you told me this past week? That was a pretty good one. I don't know, I don't remember it. That's why I can't remember.
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah. Yeah. Alright, Koltek. Koltek's the one to speak to first. So let us do that. Oh, right, yes. That is it. Okay. Shrimp fried rice. Are you telling me a shrimp fried this rice?
You seem somewhat capable. You may yet survive in Umbar Bahar.
I've heard increasing reports of theft, kidnapping, and worse. There's an encampment of the worst sort of offenders. And Diddle Irmies, the births.
It's not only our people these scoundrels have captured. It's also our treasure. I have a task uniquely suited for your gifts.
Here we go. Light in the Shadow,
Beware,
Part 1.
And I may have a larger ask for you. The more we explore Umbar Makr, the Undercity, the more danger we uncover. Greetings. We have much to do for Umbar and little time in which to do it.
Oh. We clear out an old quest. There we go.
Greetings. We have much to do for Umbar and little time.
All right,
in
I'm gonna honestly, I'm gonna take a shortcut here rather than do that. So. What was Post Malone's name before he signed a recording contract? Pre-Malone? That's pretty good. What do you call a fish with no eyes? I don't know. What do you call a fish with no eyes? Oh, a fish. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah. Green Tea wants to know, are the summer sales decided all in advance or do we choose them each week? They're decided in advance for the full tenure. We want to make sure, particularly we want to make sure that they don't maybe conflict or overlap with some existing kind of weekly sales and things like that. And we have our e-commerce folks put in some pretty significant work to try to offer compelling sales at good discounts that you would be interested in. So it takes a little bit of work actually to make these special sales happen. It's a little more than just kind of throwing ideas out there and seeing what sticks. So there we go. Why did the elf always carry a pencil? Because he wanted to draw his bow. That's pretty good too. Clear skies and swift sails to you, Koltek. Of course, the chest. Yeah, it was supposed to arrive 2 days ago. However, the ship it was on was ransacked by corsairs not far from port. The ship has only just come in, and half the cargo is gone, namely, the expensive half. I'm afraid Koltek's chest was among the items not found. Koltek has always had good taste, and it seems the corsairs agreed. I know not what is in that chest, but I do have a sense of where it might be. Corsairs and smugglers move freely in Umbarmak. Seeing as how those items were freshly seized, it's most likely they're in Deshuk, the blood market, and Dil Irmes, the berths. It's an area rife with thieves, smugglers, and corsairs, and where I'd go if I were looking to offload freshly stolen goods, I would start there. Okay, so let me look up the closest way to get to. Yeah, that'll work. I'm just going from there, and then hopefully ride our way beyond that. Let me get on a steed. There we are. Thank Wolf Bane. So we did take to heart, I think, some of the initial feedback, particularly related to how much of the start of Corsairs of Umbar takes place in King's Gondor. I think, maybe not everyone's going to agree with this, but I think a lot of folks would probably, after having run throughout all the content, would recognize that there is a lot to do in Umbar too. It doesn't all take place in King's Gondor. But sort of the perception there that perhaps it starts off a little Gondor focused is something we're going to keep in mind here for the future. So, all right, how do I get to? I need to figure out how to get to where I want to go. Okay, there you go. Cellar of the vault. Oh, here we go. Deal earmeats. Okay. Alright, so I am going to want to go to the Dulkar.
Fair winds to you.
There we go. But I think it is something that we'll keep in mind for future content releases. It's like kind of get you to the action when we can, when it makes sense. But it's true also that I think, you know, if you did follow the whole story, perhaps you would agree that there was a reason why we kind of went the way we did with it. That traveling to Umbar and experiencing the impact both for, you know, the culture you're coming from and the culture you're going to and the politics therein and such, perhaps explained why we wanted to go the route we did. Alright, I'm going to do a little fighting here. So let me prepare to do so. I would call out that we, on Mac Mahal in particular, has been pretty busy related to Lore Master in recent weeks. So if you've not had an opportunity to check out the Lore Master threads that are on the Lotro forums and the official discussion threads, and you're interested in Lore Master development, you should probably take a look at that. It's a great time to offer some feedback on the Lore Master as we're going through the Bullroar process and beyond. Orion is the most recent word in terms of overall classwork and timing and what have you, so I guess I would defer to his statements related to classwork on the forums and elsewhere, rather than try to repeat it here. This is going to be something different, I think, but yeah, okay. So, I was talking to Sev yesterday about next Friday's plan to visit, and we kind of had to figure, it's like, well, can we do this week? Can we just sort of get him out here right away and talk about it? But I think we're going to go with next week, so we're a little more prepared to answer some of the follow-up questions that we'd expect to get about whatever ends up being said, and also just general timelines. My live stream does not necessarily correspond to Sev's best schedule. Unfortunately, he has a thing he has to do every Friday at noon. Literally, he has one of his most important meetings of the week every Friday at noon. So that means we need to kind of work around that if we want to bring him on the show. I can talk a little bit about that, DDO Darius Gaming, and your question is basically, okay, so we make Lotro and we make DDO, why does it have to be separate logins? I think were the game being developed in more recent years, perhaps that would be something that would be better supported. but it really just kind of comes down to the history of the game's development, the technology that drives it, and decision-making from back in the day. And at this point, the idea of trying to integrate that is significantly more challenging than it might otherwise be. There are possibilities, though. I know some people have been able to merge accounts over the years through direct action by customer support. I'm not sure what their current status of being able to do that is, but that is the reason behind it. It's really just kind of historic cruft as much as anything else. And then if you think about it at this point, you're going to have a whole bunch of people with DDO accounts and people with Lotro accounts, and conflicts were to try to merge those things. So might be something an engineer could tackle, but I imagine it would be more complicated than it ought. Okay. I'm not channeling Maid of Lions. Maid of Lions will probably just sigh and shake his head when I answer this question. But how can a treasure chest be misbegotten? Well, according to dictionary.com, misbegotten means badly conceived, designed, or planned. So, if you look at this treasure chest, what is misbegotten about it? Well, for one, I am not seeing any lock on the chest. So if it's a treasure chest without a lock, that seems pretty misbegotten. The other thing would be that if it is a treasure chest, then that could pretty... doesn't take too much to get a whole bunch of them stolen from a boat and brought over there. I'm going to say it's a weight issue as well. It should be heavier and have a lock. Then it would be begotten rather than misbegotten. Yeah, Druid's Fire, I'm not sure what the current status of their ability to merge, basically apply an account for one game to the other is, so I really don't want to speak or offer any kind of statement that might be read as a commitment related to that. In general, questing Dad, we have it set for the music to, if not repeat, at least last long enough that it's unlikely you're going to run out of track. But certainly it's possible. Certainly it's possible. I think there's a pretty few areas, though, that are like that. I think I could defeat Cryptwalkers and such, do side quests, but I'm going to head back up after this combat. You know, that's a little ways. Let me take the short route. Alright. It's an interesting idea, though. I'll have to talk to Bill Champagne and see kind of how we handle looping for shorter combat tracks and things like that. I don't actually know myself. Go.
I knew you were up to the task. Come, we have much to discuss.
I have a sense for these things, and as promised, you have a greater role to play in the coming events. Tell me, what do I know of the Umbar Mock? Wait, not here. You must accompany me to my house in Umbar.
Only a fool trusts those he doesn't know. But we're good friends now, aren't we?
I will trust you for now. Come with me to my house. Well, one of them anyway. I also make residence in Thargushakal. Thargushakal. The southward stone. But this house has many advantages, namely a shorter walk. Make ready, and we will be off soon.
As I said, this coin is not as precious as lives. But it will surely help many rebuild theirs.
Yeah, so I was of the impression that we pretty much always had something looping. But I suppose there are times where if you're in an area, maybe we don't. Also, hello, Orion. Nice to see you here. Ah, it sounds like a cool idea, Telerian. Alright, so we have arrived to a conversation between Koltek and the honor guards. Where is the force that's supposed to be protecting Thargushakal? Thargushakal, or however you say it. I do like these rugs. I am still the Hall Father. I command the dwarves of the shoreward stone. Don't get that twisted just because you're on some council of men. It is my word that binds. Your tongue may be silver, but mine is iron. I understand, Hall Father. Except I need those guards. It's very important for stuff. I am not a dwarf you want to anger. Basically, you better talk to me before you start grabbing my folks again. When we appointed you our representative, it was because you deal well with the men around these walls. Do not forget that you are not one.
That went well. I expected much worse. Come with me. If we are to remake this city brighter and better than ever before, we must start with one of its darkest places, the Umbar Mok.
So Koltek is part of the reason we're seeing all the guards down in the below the surface there in Umbar Mok. We need to bring peace and prosperity. The Umbar Mok is a troubled place filled with dangers seen and unseen. We Timamir need to be a light in the shadow, bringing order and law to the lawless. There's much that moves there. I've been tracking the movements of the Umbar Mok. We got bandits and stuff. Attacks on citizens more frequent. And ships, both corsair and merchant, being waylaid. Their treasure and cargo seized. There are many shadows in the Umbar Mok, but there is one shadow darker than the rest. One name in charge of all the banditry. Secta, which means blight. And that's what he is. A blight upon my city. I intend to purge Umbar Baharbel of its shadows wherever they may hide. Alright.
We must find Sikta. A snake with no head perishes quickly. Dr. Nuru, he has information on Sikta's whereabouts.
One of my Umbar Mok allies spoke to them recently. Nuru can be found in Mekeb Kufar and Kabarkad. Go quickly. The Secta is elusive, always one step ahead, like water through my hands. Alright, let us do that then. Charissa, I would encourage you to ask that question of scenario related to the scalability of fire pit banquet placeables. Perhaps during the next casual stroll through Middle Earth, which we've tried to start. We're going to start doing basically the first Wednesday of every month. We started that this month on June 5th here with Casual Stroll last week. The next one, though, is not going to be on July 3rd because there's a big holiday in the United States on July 4th, and Scenario can't do it for the 3rd. So next month is going to actually be on the 10th. But in general, the Casual Stroll with Scenario can be found the first Wednesday of every month, 2 p.m. Eastern, on twitch.tv/LotraStream. That's an excellent place to ask for questions about landscape, housing in particular. Green tea, I am sure that we'll be doing further customization options, like different walking animations, things like that in the future. I don't know what the timeline or the specifics of what they might be, but the most recent Patron's Coffer that had the new induction animation along with the new walking animation is something that seems to have gone over quite well in the community, so I would not be surprised at all if we didn't lean more into that in the future. Mary Ellis, that's really a question for one of our network operations people about how we handle land block allocation, but yes, in general, the idea is to spread it out across the various bits of hardware and software to run most efficiently in a dynamic fashion.
Hey,
except Nord server pin, which you had referenced, where we're specifically sort of putting less performant areas like the Etten Moors and Minas Tirith on their own sort of space, so that they don't cause problems and are best optimized for that space. Alright, I know of the Secta, the Blight. You'll want to speak to Xerix and Dukar, the Shadow Market, southeast of here in Irmise. I don't like this, Xerix. Zherix? There we go. Or many that Koltek consorts with, but we don't get to pick our allies, and his info's been good. He spoke with me this morning about an important thing, that he would only tell Koltek or his appointed rep, which is you. One word of caution, the dual car is not always friendly. Stick to the main market. If you go poking your nose in every stall, don't be surprised to find a sword blade holding you back. Alright.
Go takes it you. They shook. The blood bucket. Finally, someone is doing something about those scoundrels. Go takes it you. Honest. We've got bigger problems than that.
Okay, so we are heading back to Irmise. And why don't I take that same stable master that I just did. Alright.
Umbar is a free city
I'll
at
just
last.
travel there, the Druid car. There we go. Can we have Halloween encores this year? I don't always have time in that time of the year for October for it and always miss it. One of the challenges in doing encores along with our other schedules is that they tend to have a certain length of time that they need to run in order to complete the deed. In the case here of both Midsummer and Yuletide, we were able to shorten Yuletide's requirements to help fit that in. October tends to be a particularly busy time, not just because of the festival we had, the Harvest Math Fest, but also because not too long from then tends to be Yuletide. And so fitting in encores has been something that we've occasionally been able to do, but not always consistently or successfully. And so I don't know what the odds of doing this, like say, Harvest Math Festival in... Because you wouldn't want to do it in November, because we just did it in November. And you wouldn't probably want to fit it in with the Yuletide. So you would probably be looking at something like, what, January, February, maybe. And yes, we have a floof here who wanted to say hello, so let me do that real quick while I head on over to where I need to be. Uh-oh. I know where she's headed. She's really been enjoying sitting on my desk of late. And can make it a little more difficult to get the job done. But how do you say no to your floof? It's not something I'm particularly good at, so... So let's look at the back of her head while she stares at me, wondering why I'm not doing the thing she wants me to do, huh? Maybe... I'm sure someone has done this. But I just had the idea, wouldn't it be funny if you named your cat PEBCAT? It's my kitty, PEBCAT. Or is it a PEBCAT? It could be KEBCAT. Cat exists between player and keyboard. I wouldn't call Lizzie a problem. An occasional hindrance, perhaps. I could pass that suggestion along. Questing Dad. Basically have the Swan Knight's armored horse similar to the Seaward steed, but less bright and without a gold trim on the armor. Sounds like something we could pass along. Alright. I think I've mentioned in the past, you know, I don't like to pick favorites too much, but I've always enjoyed the Harvest Math Festival. I'm kind of a Halloween guy, and so I've really always enjoyed the Harvest Math Festival in particular. I really like the work that Maid of Lions and others did related to the story to curl your toes. I like those instances. I just like the space. It's fun. I even like the maze, which is pretty enjoyable to run through once you kind of get the hang of it. But our Yuletide is also quite a bit of fun, so I guess it's maybe a toss-up between those two. Not that I dislike the others or anything, but if I'm going to pick a favorite, it's probably going to be one of those two. Ah, it's a little dangerous here. Run away, run away. That was a little on the close side. I could have actually probably brought that person out earlier, shouldn't I? Oops. Ah! problem exists between me and keyboard. Alright. You're not helping, Lizzie. Alright. There we go. There we go. Yep. Alright, we are actually at 1 o'clock here, so I think I might call it here. Let me pop into this corner and call it a show. So thank you so much for joining me here on twitch.tv/LotraStream for Court of the Rings. I'll be back next Friday. We're going to have a visit from Severlin, doing some Q&A and maybe have a few announcements of our own. Thank you so much for being here. You can find the full schedule on twitch.tv/LotraStream. We got the Tolkien Professor on next, Druid's Fire after that, and a full schedule through the weekend. Hope you have a good one. Hope you're enjoying Lord of the Rings Online, and I will see you again next week. Bye-bye.